Okay, so this is a video for our portfolio class with regards to our research paper that you might be printing in booklet format. So I'm going to cover print booklet in InDesign. First things first, we need to have a document that has a page count divisible by 4. I have an 8-page document, which that is divisible by 4. The reason why that is because when we print a booklet feature, the front side will have 2 pages, the back side will have 2 pages, so we have 4 pages per piece of paper. So let's get this printing started on the print booklet feature. Now you want to just put your pages in the regular ordering order that you would have your document in. You don't need to move pages around because the program will do it for you. So I'm going to go to Print Booklet. So that's File, Print Booklet in InDesign. And we will have, if you have if you've set bleeds and stuff, which I usually tell the document to have bleeds, I want to go ahead and have the automatic adjustment to fit marks and bleeds turned on. And if you have any blank pages, you definitely want to print blank printer spreads, turn that on as well. I am going to go to the preview button here, and we can see that this is showing red or pink. This means the page setup is not quite set up properly. So in this case, I would click on Print Settings, and I can get the normal print dialog box that we would have for printing. For our classroom, we have the luxury of having a laser printer right here, so it's the 328 Laser 1. And we would want to, let's say if I had any blank pages in here, because sometimes your inside back cover or something might be blank, go ahead and make sure Print Blank Pages is turned on in the event you have blank pages. We don't click on spreads because in the print booklet feature it automatically puts them in spreads, so that's grayed out. So for many of us that might be confusing, but in this case we don't have to have that clicked on. Now in setup, my pages are 8 by 8, so I'm going to need to print on tabloid paper because 2 pages together would be 16 inches. So this will fit on tabloid paper. I'm just going to have to cut it out. And for my orientation, I need to have my orientation set to landscape, not portrait. Now it's super, super important when you're printing a booklet that the page position is set to center. This way, when it prints front to back, you don't have one page shifted up into the corner and the other one, when you turn it over, will be in the opposite corner. So make sure that you have your page position on center. On marks and bleeds, I typically turn on crop marks, and I'll also turn on registration marks. The reason why I turn on registration marks is the registration marks fall dead center on the page, which basically tell you where to score and fold. They're not really score or fold marks, they just happen to be dead center, and it's a visual indicator of where you need to fold down the middle of your pages. Assuming you have set bleeds on the actual document, I have used document bleed settings, and I can see my bleed is set to P9. If it says 0, uncheck that use document bleed settings and type in P9, which is 1/8 of an inch, and then hit the link tool so they'll make them all the same. Now you will only have bleed graphics print past the trim line if you actually pulled your bleed. Just keep that in mind. If the graphic goes right to the edge of the page, it won't automatically generate a bleed. You'll just have to be careful about how you cut. It's best to go ahead and pull graphics that you have going to the edge of the page out, because when you fold these papers together, you'll have a term that's called creeping. Your pages on the inside of the document will push out a little bit. It'll be like a little waterfall effect on the edges. And when we cut those, if we had bleeds pulled, we won't get a little white strip of paper.
Isn't 0 P9, is that larger than 0.125?
No, in fact, if I type in 0.125 IN, it will automatically convert, see, to P9.
Okay.
So 9 points is exactly 1/8 of an inch. Now, if it were 9P, which would be 9 picas, that would be like 1.5 inches. But points are much smaller than picas. Okay, for the output, I want a composite CMYK. Make sure my text is not, I don't click on text as black. That should by default already be okay, unless we printed some other stuff. I'm going to go to page setup and make sure that the printer and the paper size are correct there. In my case, they are, so I'm going to hit OK. And then I'm going to go to the printer button, which is down near this lower left-hand corner, and I'm going to hit OK on the warning. And here is where I can control a few things like two-sided printing. I want that on because this one's you need to print front to back. And on layout, oh, this is always confusing to me. Let's see. We don't really have anything here that'll show us whether you flip on the short side or long side, so I'm going to find out real soon whether I need to tell it short-sided or long-sided. Sometimes it'll print backwards on one side. That means that you need to choose the other one. And it used to be right in here, so I've got to dig for that now. They've moved it. I'm going to peek in here and see if there's anything that gives me short-sided or long-sided. Nope.
Well, there's something that said flip.
Yeah, flip horizontal, but I think that mirrors it. If I go to like where it says layout here, I click on that, I go to Xerox features. Oftentimes I can control my print quality here. I can control my type of paper. So if you're printing on a heavier cardstock, you can go to a different cardstock. Right now, most of the time we're printing on a thin paper. Here we go. In the two-sided printing, where it says flip on short edge, I'm going to test this, and if it prints backwards on one side, that means I need to choose the flip on short edge instead of what's default. Now, sometimes in my mind I can kind of figure what that is, but I'm going to just go ahead and just use a two-sided print, see if it prints upside down, then I know I need to choose the other one. So I'm going to hit print once here, which is in essence hitting OK. I'm going to hit OK here. And we can see the preview looks really good. Page 8 is next to page 1, which it should be. So 1 would be my first page 8 would be my back cover. And so it's going to paginate or impose these pages properly for printing. We can also see that there's a little bit of a registration mark off to the edge, and we see crop marks, so we know where to cut it. So I'm going to print this, and we'll see what comes out. If it does come out upside down on one side, we know we'll have to flip that on the short edge. So we'll see what happens. Let me be your guinea pig. Now, sometimes it's, in fact, if you wanted to do a little test print, not print all the pages and just print like pages 1 through 4, now those will be useless, but print booklet 1 through 4, you'll at least know if you have it set up and you only spent, a little bit of money instead of all the pages. So let's see what's happening. Oh darn, guess what? This looks fabulous. And then the other side, it's upside down. Uh-oh. This tells me that when I printed my booklet, in this case, oops, that's a print, well, not the print booklet. When I go to print booklet, that tells me that in my print settings, in the printer button here, in my Xerox features, I have to dig to get this. In my Xerox features, instead of two-sided print, I do two-sided print flip on short edge. Now when I print this, it will print properly where the front and the back will not, well, they'll be going the same direction. One will be upside down. Okay. So, yes, that's going to work out just fine. And it's coming out of the printer now, so I know on the video you won't be able to see this, but it should print right reading. Here we go. That page is right reading, and so is that. It's not upside down anymore. Okay? I'm going to stop the recording, and I'm going to physically go back there and show you how to cut and mount these, or cut and it's actually fold, bind, and cut. Cut is the last thing we do. So I'm going to stop the recording, and